Child here, the one from 72, the Ultra Neutral here at the Galaxy Cafe in Cambodia. Today we're going to be talking about telepathy. Do you have telepathy? Absolutely, you all have telepathy. I'm going to prove that you have telepathy by going down this list. Okay, and I'm going to explain to you telepathy, how I understand it. I really didn't understand telepathy all that much until after my alien encounter. And I had to be physically altered for me to understand things the way that I understand them. So I'll talk about that in another video, but let's talk about you right now and your telepathic abilities and how we know you have telepathy. Okay, the first one is deja vu. Number two is your ears are burning. Mother's intuition, catching the glass, knowing being watched, friendly with wild animals, the twins study, and dreams of the future, dreaming the future. Okay, so my guess is that almost everyone that's watching this video has had at least more than one of these things happening. If you've had deja vu happen to you, you're seeing the future before the future is happening. That's just a telepathic ability. You're knowing the future before it happens. That's what deja vu is. We just have chalked that up. Well, Americans and maybe and other cultures have just chalked that up as, oh, they just call it deja vu. Well, what is deja vu? In the movie The Matrix, they explain it as, oh, you're in a simulation, so you've already done this before. People who may think that they have done this life already before could easily believe that that's, what would explain deja vu. However, if you're looking at all these other possibilities in telepathy, then deja vu falls in the category of telepathy. And if you go back about, I don't know, before the internet and maybe before movies, did people not have deja vu then? If you go back, maybe 1,000 years, 2,000 years ago, if they had deja vu, then obviously it's not a matrix that you're in, right? If it predates all of that, that type of stuff, then obviously it can't be, but it makes more sense that somebody is seeing the future before it happens. And that's deja vu, that's a telepathic ability. Next on the list is your ears are burning. So if you ever had, and you probably have, had somebody call you and you say, oh my gosh, we were just talking about you, or I was just thinking about you, right? And vice versa, go the other way. All of a sudden, you don't have any reason to be thinking about that person. Nothing in any kind of way would lead you to say, hey, I should call that person. But for some reason, out of nowhere, out of the blue, you're just thinking, hey, I wonder what John's doing. I'm gonna give him a call today, right? And then you call him and he says, man, we were just talking about you. Now, you may not have seen John in years. You might not have seen him in a long time. And John hasn't talked about you in a long time. But just so happens you both are having this telepathic connection where he's thinking about you and you're thinking about him. It's all happening at the same time. This is this telepathic highway. And I'm going to explain a lot of this stuff in another video of advanced telepathy and how powerful it is and what you can benefit from advanced telepathy. I've already done it in another video on another channel. I'm gonna bring it onto this channel here and share that video with you guys. So yeah, your ears are burning. That's just a telepathic connection that you're having with somebody, that you're telepathically connected to them. Number three, this one actually should have been number one, mother's intuition. Mother's intuition should have been number one because why? Telepathy starts inside of the womb. When the baby is inside, when the baby's being formed inside of the mother's belly, the brain is already starting to share brain waves with the brain that's hosting it, right? The mother's brain. So you're already having a telepathic connection with your mother. So that doesn't stop when the mother ends up having the child and the mother and the baby goes on to do other things, grows up, 5, 6, 20, 30, 40 years old. A mother can know that something is wrong with her child. Well, how does she know that? We just chalk that up as one of these things called mother's intuition, just like we just chalk it up as deja vu, just like we just say, oh, it's your ears are burning. You see, humans use these catchphrases to easily explain something away. That's not so that they don't want to reflect and say, hey, you know what? These three things already, deja vu, ears are burning, and mother's intuition all have to do with people connecting, right? Deja vu is about seeing the future, but definitely ears are burning and mother's intuition. And then there's another one that we're going to connect to that too, going down the list here. But yeah, mother's intuition, that's just no more than just a telepathic communication that you have with your child, knowing your child's hurt. That also goes down to the twins study, and we'll get to that one too in a moment. So number 4 is catching the glass. Have you ever sat at your table and you move your arm and boom, the glass falls, it falls off the table, and you catch it just perfectly. You catch that glass perfectly to where it's not gonna tip this way, nothing spills out, or you catch it, and you catch it where you're not catching it just at the very bottom, you're catching it at the top, but exactly in the right position where the hand would actually typically grab the glass. Now, you didn't think to grab the glass, it was a quick reaction, and it wasn't just a quick reaction, it was precise to the point to where it's worth studying, because the military has studied that, and they call that precog. And so the United States military has tried to take that and enhance that ability to be able to use it for warriors in the field out in battle. So, catching the glass, that's what I call catching the glass. I'm sure that there's probably another name for it, but I just call it catching the glass. So if you ever caught the glass or caught something, boom, instantly, without thinking, it's not just a reaction, your hand is already there before you even get to think. So how can you react if you haven't even thought to react, right? There's a thought reaction that happens first. The thought happens, then the reaction happens, unless it's something like your hand's getting burnt or something. So in this case, it's completely different, because you're not going off of a feel or something like that. You're literally, boom, your hand goes there and you catch it and go, wow, caught that. Or somebody goes, wow, I can't believe you just did that. So catching the glass could also be another sign of your telepathy peering through and telling you, hey, I'm here. You just have to learn how to use me more. Knowing being watched. You ever been, and most of you, I'm going to sure every single person that's watching this right now has had the feeling that you're being watched, right? Like you're sitting there at the red light in your car, or you're standing in line somewhere, you're doing something, and you don't think that maybe somebody's watching you. You know somebody's watching you. It's completely different. I'm not talking about thinking somebody's watching you. I wonder if somebody's watching me. Should I turn around and look? No. You know that you're being watched, because you automatically turn, and not only do you turn and look, you don't turn and pan the horizon to find out where somebody's watching you. You look directly at that person, believe it or not. In the CIA and FBI, one of the things that they teach is when you're following somebody, do not stare at them in the back of their head. And the reason why is because of that. See, they already know that these abilities exist. How they explain that away in the FBI and CIA, I don't know. We do know that Project Stargate was part of a CIA program, so they do not believe, but know that telepathy is a very real thing. And that started in 1972, by the way, on the Russell Targ and Hal Puthoff. So knowing the glass is knowing you're being watched. So, and that's another one that can connect you to ears are burning, mother's intuition, because now you have two brains that are working at the same time telepathically. Okay. The next one is friendly with wild animals. This doesn't happen with everybody, but some people it's rare and it does happen. A wild animal, a complete wild animal. An animal that typically is skittish around humans or attack humans or try to stay as far away from humans, never goes up to a human, but all of a sudden there's this human. Maybe it could have been you. It's happened to me a couple of times, but it could also be you or somebody that you know, or you've seen. I seen a child one time where a deer came up to the child and just came to the child, just sniffed at the child, and then let the child touch the deer's nose, and then the deer kind of playfully hopped and ran away. Okay. This stuff happens out in the wild more than people would think it would happen. If it wasn't for YouTube videos of people sharing that, we wouldn't see all these other instances of people having these interactions with wild animals. Now, I'm not talking about somebody just going out and trying to feed the animal or trying to lure the animal in. I literally mean that you're doing whatever you're doing, sitting at a picnic, you're taking a hike in the woods, or you're at a park or something, and all of a sudden, and I have a video of this, a wild goose comes all the way across a pond, and she comes across the pond coming towards me while I'm talking about humans and telepathy, by the way. and she walks up and she comes and lays right down right behind me. Goose in Ohio, where I was at, they do not come up to humans at all. They stay as far away from humans as possible. They'll eat the food, and I wasn't feeding any of them, and I didn't feed the goose at that area. So she just came laid down behind me and let me turn around and let me pet her, and she just went to sleep. She literally came behind me and went to sleep. So this is the type of things when you have this is a telepathic communication that you're having with animals. And I had that also at another time when I was in Utah, and I'll explain that in another video. I had a telepathic communication with a bear in a cave. So friendly with wild animals. So if that's happened to you, you may say, hey, why does that wild animal even come up to me? Why did that wild bird just land on my shoulder? Why did that wolf come up to me and just let me pet it? Why did this bear just kind of roll over on its belly? And people don't know how to explain it away. They just say, they'll say, oh, it has a kindred spirit with you. Well, maybe it's just telepathy. As simple as all these other things. It explains all these things away as one thing, one gift, and that's telepathic communication. Okay, so after that, the next one is twin study. Now, I didn't go through the whole thing on the twin study, but most of you already know that they've been studying twins for a very long time because of the fact that, especially like identical twins, one will feel something and the other one will feel it too. That's just telepathy. Or you take two twins who were separated at birth, never got to know each other. One is on one side of the planet, the other one's on the other side of the planet. They meet up later on in their 20s, 30s, 40s, or whatever. And just so happens that they married somebody with the same name. They dress the same way. They have the same type of occupation. How is it possible that they have all these things the same? Because they're the same person? No, it's because they have a strong telepathic connection with each other. And that's why when they had a twin that was here on Earth, and they sent another one into space, America did, in the space shuttle, and they studied the twins' connection with one in space and one on Earth. So yeah, we've known for a very long time that twins have a telepathic connection, just people don't want to really add all this other stuff in there and say, hey, we do have telepathy. How do we access that and make it much stronger? Okay, the next one is actually twin studies. The last one is dreaming the future. Have you ever had a dream and later on it comes true, right? You have a dream and then a week later, a month later, hell, it could be years later, and the thing happens. It literally happens just like in a dream that you had. That is no more than just seeing the future, a telepathic, that's your telepathy working. When your front conscious shuts down, the one that your known conscious, where you perceive this world as is through your eyes and all your other senses, when that consciousness shuts down and you go to sleep, another consciousness awakens, and that consciousness has more access to telepathic abilities, as far as I understand it. That's why people claim that they can do astro traveling and stuff. It's just telepathy. They're just telepathically, just like with Project Stargate, when they're using remote viewing, which that's happened to me, where I've remote viewed and didn't ask to do it, and it's not something I get into, but it just happened, and it was after my alien experience, and I did not know what was happening to me. I literally was in another room with a couple of people who were talking and saying some stuff about me that I knew, and later on that day, well, actually right afterwards, the person called me and was just like boom, 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 and I was like, yeah, this happened, this happened, this happened. They said, how did you know that? I thought I had cameras in the room, and I didn't understand what's happening to me. This is after my alien interaction. So speaking of aliens, and I don't know if maybe I should turn the camera just a little bit more. UFO telepathy. Okay, so this is the reason why I put this in here, and I don't get into the whole woo-woo and stuff, but telepathy is something that you all have, and it's not a woo-woo thing. It's in you, and like I said in this list, you can all see that you all have telepathy. UFOs, there's people who say that they, some people say that they have connections with the UFO, right? Like they're connecting with it. It's like doing certain things that they're asking it to do or whatever, or some people are saying like, I'm the only one that saw the UFO, but nobody else saw it, It's just a telepathic communication, it's a telepathic connection. Now, there's a lot of liars out there, a lot of fakes and charlatans, and people who are trying to get likes on videos, trying to get popularity, because they have nothing else going on in their life, so they'll just make up a bunch of shit. There's a bunch of stuff going on right now where people are saying they're having all this communication with 3i Atlas and stuff. There's an easy way we can have a study with taking 20 of these people and putting them in a room together, giving them all an envelope with a piece of paper on it. It's going to have 3 random questions. All 3 of the questions are the same. And by the way, those have to be questions that are going to be with numbers only. So that way the answers have to be in numbers, because numbers don't lie. And then you have the 20 people in that room all give, they'll have the answers on, they'll have the questions on there, and the questions can be something like, okay, if 3 Atlas is an alien craft, what's the number of years that the beings on that craft can live, right? Boom, super easy answer, super easy question, should be an easy answer. And you have to put like a disclaimer in there, like cannot say infinitely, because that's just a bullshit answer. You know, we want numbers. We need numbers, and numbers is how we'll be able to calculate. Once you get all 20 of those people in the room, they hand in their envelopes, and if none of those ages match up, and plus the other 2 questions, which will have to do with numbers too, like what is the known year on the planet that you come from? What is the exact calculation, and how many light years are you away from the planet that you come from? You know, these type of certain little answers should be super simple, super easy for advanced species that come from another civilization on another planet, another galaxy or whatever. Should be very easy for them to just say, okay, this is what the humans want to know. Maybe we don't judge it in that way, but we'll give them this answer. And since 20 of these people in the room, and they all claim they're having connections with 3 Atlas and aliens on what's supposed to be a ship, then it should be easy for them all to get the same answer, right? But the thing is to weed out all the bullshit, and the ones who are just out there just trying to get clicks, and the ones who really think that they are and stuff and want to make wild claims, you have to put like some type of clause in there, like if we find out that you're lying, then your bank account's gonna be wiped out, and you're gonna be thrown in a jail for like a year or something, some type of repercussion to really weed out all the bullshit. We see that with what happened with one of the guys who's like a known guy, who's named Corey Good, and that was what happened with him. He made up all these lies about the blue avians and stuff, and then once he was pressed in court, because under perjury he'd be prosecuted under the law, then he said, oh, this all comes from my mind, right? It just comes from my mind. Did you ever physically go to space? No, in my mind I went to space. So there's a lot of bullshit, but however, this thing that's happening with the UFOs that are out there and stuff, I think that is, it's very possible, because some of these things are actually ships with alien species on there who are telepathic, and they may be telepathically connected with them. But what we know for sure is that almost everyone watching this video right now has probably had deja vu and one of these other things, or multiple of these things. If you had all of these things, congratulations. You just confirm that you have telepathy. If you have 1 or 2, you could be suspicious of, you know, maybe I'm not having telepathy, maybe it's just a coincidence. But how can all of these types of things be coincidences all the time for everyone? Isn't telepathy just like something that we all should just accept that it's actually there and it's happening, since governments are spending a lot of money in it? It's not just the American government, the Chinese government's also been doing it too. Since 1982, they ran a program where they were trying to find these what called star children and use telepathy. But anyhow, guys, I hope that helps you out. I hope that you will start paying more attention to these types of things, maybe talking with other people who have those things, and maybe trying to understand it more. Like I said, I'm not into the whole woo-woo thing and stuff like that, but telepathy is a very real thing that definitely does happen to the humans. It's there, it's inside of you. I think personally, it's been, after studying the Sumerian tablets, that telepathy has been shut off in the human's brain, kind of dulled down to where you can't use it. And I'll talk about that in another video, and I'll talk about, you know, how much more powerful the human species could be, and how you guys could move forward as a species if you're all, you know, studying and understanding and using telepathy. In fact, this should be the #1 study in the world right now, right? That's the one thing that's going to help you connect with alien species that are coming here. So, and with that, this is something to think about.